There you have it.
Yeah.
It's basically, now he does the... Here he does a suspended, so an E flat suspended before he goes to the E flat. So it's written just E flat, but he actually does the, again, providing a little bit of that tension.
Yeah.
So it does that for the first, until you get to the last two lines of the chorus. That's the two, it does that progression twice. And then the kind of the thing that everybody kind of catches on that, I'm not even gonna try singing it, but it's the, and so when he's playing it, he's playing with all these sort of parallel sixths, right? He's just, we've written the melody line in the music itself, so you get the top note. Which gives you the the basic melody of it.
That's sort of singable or the recognizable thing. But you're when you're saying with these six, so you're just taking that melody note and then you're moving down a sixth interval, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Within the scale tone, so in the A flat scale. So we're playing an A flat first inversion.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So again, we get to that. Again, that's suspended, and then he just holds that suspended. He doesn't even resolve it.
Yeah.
Before he goes back into the verse.
Into the verse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
When we come around to verse 2, he starts it again the same.
Yeah.
That's where he changes it a little bit. The whole time it was just two-note voicings the whole time through the first verse. When he gets to, because the verse 2 starting to build it up a little bit, build up the intensity of the song. This is where you can start playing triad or three-note chords.
Right. Okay.
Sounds a little fuller than.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Now you'll notice my left hand, I gotta be honest, my left hand does this thing on its own.
Yeah.
Where even though the song is very slow, there's still, if you listen to John Legend sing it and play it, you can almost hear a backbeat to it.
Yeah.
There's this, it's just piano vocal, but it's almost like there's, cool cat on the bass and a drummer behind him providing this hook. So what I'm doing a little bit is rocking my left hand back and forth. It's hard to explain, but it's trying to capture that pulse of the way they're doing it. So you get the...
Are you just doing octaves there?
Or fifths.
Octaves or
fifths is kind of what I'm doing. So I'll kind of concentrate on the left hand here, because as I'm playing it, I've been playing this a little bit. I realize my left hand just does its own thing.
Yeah.
And I concentrate on my right hand because I know that it's just sort of going to keep that beat going. So you get the... just a dum, dum, just a little bit. And I mean, if that's a little bit too technical, what you can do is you can just start by instead of just holding at whole notes. So you can do half notes. Now the right hand, of course, is doing dotted quarter note with does that pulse, right?
Yeah,
dotted quarter to the eighth.
Yeah.
Which is really easy with a whole note.
Yeah.
If you make it half notes, the second time you hit on the left, it's going to be off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it provides a little bit more movement.
Yeah.
And you can start to practice it that way and start to fill in the chords. But when he moves to the bridge again, he goes back to what we practiced earlier.
The arpeggio stuff. Yeah.
But he starts to be a little bit more intense. And again, he ends off on that high E flat to set up the...
Yeah.
And he doesn't really, in the choruses, get too intense. He kind of keeps them all the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we get to the bridge.
Yeah.
So he does that second chorus.
Yeah.
Is the same way.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the bridge,
yeah.
Let's go, because I think we forgot to click the that main kind of
triumphant
bit. There we go. Yeah. So let's go back to that,
Sorry,
and we'll just
totally went on. Yeah, sorry.
No worries. Let's just make sure that we get that, because that's kind of like the big melody of the song instrumentally. So yeah, let's do that. 100.
100. Let's do it.
Far away here. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of the big like climactic part of the song.
Yeah.
Although getting to the bridge here, this is definitely one of the
this is where vocally he hits that he's firing it on all cylinders.
Yeah,
by
he's
that
really belting
point.
on here.
And when you hear how he's playing too, he's really digging in.
Yeah.
It's the So instead of the arpeggiated.
Yeah.
Filling out big chords.
Yeah, same chords as the
same
pre-chorus,
chords, so the
right?
B flat minor.
Yeah.
And what you can do to add a little bit more thickness to the chord is add the 2 to the B flat minor. So the B flat minor is a B flat, D flat, F.
Yeah.
If you throw a C in there, so in your right hand, your thumb, just like you're playing that arpeggio, thumb, first finger, third, and the fifth finger.
Yeah.
Just play that. So it's a nice, instead of playing the arpeggiated, just
Cool.
But when he ends off the bridge, he even comes back down even a little quieter than he did in the pre-choruses. So he's a and then he comes right back down for that chorus.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the chorus, the only thing he does different is he tags the last 2 lines.
Yeah.
Again, so where we played the. Then you get. Which we've written. It's in the sheet music there, but you can see it where he just, instead of just. He does
a little step thing.
Yeah, step up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, various levels of the ways that you can actually look at it. I've given you the meat of how he actually plays the song. So, for practicing to try and get to that where it's comfortable, to do that is practice the scale. If you know the A flat, first practice the A flat scale. Get to know the notes that are in that scale.
Yeah.
And then go up the scale in 6ths.
Right.
So start with the A flat, and then go down in the 6th. Now, every time you go up a note, so you know the A flat scale, A flat, B flat, C. So A flat down to the C is that's your 6th there.
Yeah.
When you go to the B flat, you got to pick a note that's in the scale. You're not going to go up to a D.
Right.
Because that's not in the key of A flat. So, and just they're all, oops, see, that's not that note.
Yeah.
G.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of what he does to highlight the melody, as I've shown you, is is almost the whole scale right there. So if you can get comfortable doing that, just practice that over and over, you'll get used to it. And that'll also help you when you're in the bridge, doing that. Again, there's those 6th traveling like that.
Yeah.
That's a good practice. Your left hand, I was talking a little bit about the rocking there. Stay with whole notes until you're sort of comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Yeah.
You can start to build a little bit more movement.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is just to remember that sort of that pulse, that backbeat, if you want.
Yeah.
In it, you don't want to rush the song. The song, like I said, is 124. Slow it down.
Yeah.
And just get those basic chords, and then you can start to build up from there.
Totally. Yeah, like we've got the PDF with sort of the skeleton pulse of each progression, sort of put in there, like you were saying, with that sort of dotted quarter note feel, and everything else that you're kind of doing is like if you stick with that pulse and mess around with the sort of melody line, you've got the song in its kind of most fundamental form. And all these sort of arpeggio stuff is great practice, and especially those 6s, man. Like that kind of thing, that's like definitive piano ballad chord movement, right? Like you find it everywhere, regardless of.
And the other thing to add to that is once you've gotten used to that.
Yeah.
So you get you're doing all I'm doing in the left hand to keep it simple is to do an arpeggiated, to get that arpeggiated. Is just the 1, the 5, and the 1.
Right.
Is all I'm doing. So. Instead of just playing.
Yeah.
You want a little bit more movement than that. So. So with the 6th, the little bit of the arpeggiated, that kind of gives you that sort of typical ballad.
Yeah.
Ballad sound.
It just sounds kind of the way you expect it to sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's so great about that left-hand pattern with the with just playing with octaves and then fifths and then octaves or some kind of combination of that.
Combination of that, yeah.
It's great because you're just adding what you need with the left hand. You're adding this sort of rhythm element and you're sort of outlining the chords, but the right hand doing all this sort of 6 stuff, which has all the melody component in there. Like each hand's kind of carved out its little niche.
Yeah, and you're basically trying to emulate a band.
Right.
And so.
Yeah, you got your rhythm section, you got your melodies up
totally.
top. Yeah. How did you develop your sort of left hand instincts? Like I know for me, when you say that your left hand just does what it tends to do, like I have the same thing. It just kind of has some instincts.
It just came from having to play on my own.
Yeah.
And I don't have a bass player and a drummer at my beck and call.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to have.
Yeah.
So how do you create movement?
Yeah.
But I don't want to just do straight, just to try and play along with the click and just hammer my left hand. It's got to have a little bit of movement, a little bit so you get the. I just started playing around with it.
Yeah. I
kind of worked at it, and a lot of it came from listening and listening and listening to a song. So if I'm practicing, I'm trying to learn a new song, be it one of these, or listening to what he's doing, and trying to emulate what's being played.
Yeah.
And if you really listen intently, you can separate out what hand is playing what.
Yeah.
And then you start to listen to what they're playing. You're like, okay, what do they do? And I've run into it where I've been trying to learn songs like this, and luckily for me, John Legend and I we kind of lean in the same direction as far as where it's natural to play those pulses. Sometimes it's not. I've tried to learn pieces where I'm like, how is he doing that? I'm like, once you figure it out, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
For him, that's natural.
Right.
For me, now I got to learn that. And as you do that, you just start to pick it up. You slow it down and just start to repeat that over and over.
Yeah.
And it mainly comes from listening and trying to emulate.
Yeah.
You can do it with, sometimes it's written. What I've found is not a lot of written music highlights some of those little nuances that sort of make a good piano. Like if you go in and you want to play whatever song it is, if you go into the store and you buy All of Me sheet music, it's not going to have all of the little nuances that the recording does.
Yeah.
And personally, that's what I like to listen to. That's what I want to play, is how do you get that sound?
Yeah.
And that just comes from listening and then just practicing. And after a while, it just becomes second nature, which is what ends up happening.
Yeah, that's kind of the hope. So do you practice outside of time when you're doing this sort of thing, and just kind of feel out the pattern on your own?
Yeah.
Build your own internal kind of pulse.
Build your own,
Yeah.
And then strongly recommend practicing as much as you can. When you're doing your scales and you're practicing those sixths, have your metronome on whatever, start at 60, go up to 100, and just playing with on quarters, eighths, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But practice that part. Do that with metronome religiously.
Yeah.
But when you get to actually learning these parts, put the metronome aside.
Yeah.
And just get into just sort of whatever time works and try and get the overall feel.
Yeah.
And you'll find, I found anyways, I was just trying it at home, put that click on, and all of a sudden once you've got the part, the click actually kind of puts up the guardrails.
Right.
And you start to flow in, you start to feel that a little bit better. But in the learning part, definitely.
Yeah.
Shut off the click and
just kind of feel it out.
Feel it out.
Yeah, sweet, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want to kind of address? Some weird ways to gussy it up at all? Or you sort of gave some good gussy in there.
Yeah, I did a little bit. That's your basic song, and then you can take that. Now that you've got the chord structure, you can. Sometimes throw the melody in.
Yeah.
Other times don't.
Yeah.
Passing chords.
Yeah.
And then to end it off. He actually holds it on he just leaves it suspended. He leaves it hanging out there.
Totally. Yeah. Beautiful. You know, what's so great about this song is because the basic chords are so simple, and it's all, like, there's no weird accidentals or anything like that. There's no kind of fancy key changes.
No, nothing.
But it's a great song to, like, really prove the point that dynamics are so important, right? Because like even the pre-chorus versus the bridge is like it sounds like a different part. It sounds like a different set of chords.
Exactly, but it's the same chords.
Yeah, it mostly just boils down to the dynamics of how he's playing and how he's singing. And so it's a lot of really great instincts you can build with this song.
Yeah.
Let's see if we've got any questions. All right, we got one question from Antal. He says, how long does it take for Nate to get this fluent with a song like this?
How long does it take me?
Yeah.
Well, this one I was actually practicing singing this too because I didn't know how much singing I was going to be forced to do in this lesson.
Yeah.
So sitting down, it took me about, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour to just sort of make sure that I had all the main parts.
Yeah.
I always look at songs two different ways. Songs for me, I get bored easily, so I don't want to play the song the same way all the time. But when you're a song like this, there are certain key parts that I want to learn. So I spend my time learning those key parts, highlighting them.
Yeah.
And then all the stuff in the middle, when kind of you're singing that verse and all that the nuances there, I play whatever I want.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that I hit nail those parts.
Yeah.
So I first obviously figure out what key it's in.
Yeah.
Then I figure out what the chord progression is.
Yeah.
And then you can go from there and learn those parts. I still do it the old school way. I just hit play and I figure it out.
Yeah.
You can easily Google it and get the charts. But I will challenge you on that. You can find a chord chart or whatever for all of me, and it'll give you there's a bazillion websites that'll do that.
Yeah.
You can use that as a reference, but listen and learn to try to figure it out. But it usually takes me about 45 minutes, depending on the song.
Cool.
In this case, they're pretty simple, and knowing how a ballad works, knowing where you kind of know where he's going to go with it as you're listening to the songs. So.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's the lifelong kind of pursuit is developing that skill of sort of listening to what he's doing. For instance, in the left hand, like feeling out what that pulse feels like, because you're right, it is more of a, I think of it that way too. I think of it more as a feeling thing versus okay, what notes is he playing? What is his direct note for note sort of translation? It's more of okay, so what chord shape is he working with, and what naturally just sort of falls under your fingers as you play with those chord shapes.
And the big thing that's kind of not always, but I often see it forgotten is the transitions from each section. So recognizing that there's a verse.
Yeah.
Where that verse changes and goes into a pre-chorus, what is the piano part doing that flows nicely into that? Because oftentimes it's a little bit disjointed as you're kind of learning each section, but really learn to get into that next section and just flow in and out of each of the sections as you're playing the song.
Yeah. Awesome, man. It looks like that's all the questions that we actually have right now.
All right.
If there's nothing else that you want to talk about,
I think that's pretty much it. That sums up.
Is that going to do it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. How about you want to just do a top to bottom little performance of it?
We can do that.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining. Nate, thanks as always for coming in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.